Seoul. The quiet autumn morning in Seoul was bathed in golden light when Jungkook finally spoke about the promises he made before stepping into a new chapter of his life. His wedding had captured the attention of the world, not only because he was the youngest member of BTS, but because it marked a moment that felt both intimate and monumental. Yet, beyond the headlines and the flash of cameras, there was a quiet, private story that unfolded between brothers who once shared a single dream inside a small practice room. Before the ceremony, Jungkook sat down with Jimin and Taehyung, the two who, more than anyone, had watched him grow from a shy teenager to a man ready to build his own life. What began as a simple talk stretched into hours, laughter blending with tears, and in that moment, he made 7 promises, not written, not rehearsed, but spoken from the deepest part of his heart. These promises were not vows of duty, but of love, a quiet pledge that their brotherhood would never fade, even as life changed around them. Those who were close to the group described the scene as one of pure sincerity. The 3 of them, dressed in simple clothes, sat on the rooftop of Jungkook's house. There was no script, no manager nearby, just the familiar hum of the city below and the wind that carried the memories of a decade together. Jungkook, with his signature half-smile, looked at Jimin and Taehyung and said softly, "I don't know what my life will look like after this, but I want you both to know, some things I'll never let go of." He spoke about the long nights of practice, when Jimin would quietly stay behind to make sure he wasn't overworking himself, about the countless mornings when Taehyung would burst into laughter just to lift the tension that came from exhaustion. "You both made me who I am," Jungkook said, his voice trembling. "I used to think I had to prove myself to everyone, but I realized I only needed to prove that I'd never forget where I came from." As Jimin listened, his eyes turned red, his hand reaching for Jungkook's shoulder. "You don't owe us anything," Jimin replied. "You've already given us more than you know." But Jungkook shook his head, his gaze steady. "No, Hyung. I made promises. To you and to Taehyung. To never stop singing when it comes from my heart. To always protect what we built. To never let the world change how I see you both. Those are promises that don't end with marriage." What made that moment so poignant wasn't the grandeur, but the honesty. Jungkook, who once stood on stage as the golden magne, seemed, for the first time, stripped of every title and expectation. He wasn't BTS's Jungkook, nor the global icon the world adored. He was just Jungkook, the boy who found 2 brothers in the chaos of fame. A close friend described how, after the conversation, the 3 embraced for a long time. They didn't say anything. It was one of those moments where words didn't matter. They just held on to each other like they were making sure the past 10 years weren't a dream. Later that night, Jimin and Taehyung left quietly, leaving Jungkook standing by the window, watching the city lights fade into dawn. When the wedding day arrived, both Jimin and Taehyung were among the earliest to arrive. They stood by Jungkook's side not as idols, but as brothers. During a quiet break, Jungkook a small box. Inside was a silver pin, the same one Jungkook had worn during their first concert tour. "For luck," Jimin said with a smile that was half tears. Taehyung added, "And to remind you that we'll always be behind you, no matter where you go." During the ceremony, observers noted how Jungkook seemed calm, his usual nervous energy replaced by something gentler. When asked later about that calmness, he laughed softly. "I wasn't nervous. I just felt complete. Because they were there." It was a rare moment of openness for someone known to guard his emotions so carefully, and it reflected just how deeply the bond between them had shaped his heart. After the wedding, Jungkook shared a quiet reflection through an interview. "Before I got married, I made promises, not because I was leaving something behind, but because I wanted to carry them with me. Marriage doesn't mean the end of who I was. It's the continuation of who we've always been. I told Jimin Hyung and Taehyung Hyung that no matter what changes, we'll still meet on our birthdays, still argue about who eats faster, and still sing together when the night gets too quiet." His words resonated deeply with fans across the world. Hashtags like #7 promises to Jimin and Taehyung and #forever with Jungkook trended for days, with millions sharing their emotions about the quiet strength of BTS's bond. Many commented that this was what made BTS unique, a brotherhood that went beyond music, beyond fame, beyond time itself. Even RM, Jin, Suga, and J-Hope reportedly shared their thoughts privately, with one insider saying, "It wasn't about letting go. It was about growing together in different ways." Jungkook's marriage didn't create distance. It reminded them how far they've come. Months later, Jungkook was seen having dinner with Jimin and Taehyung again, laughing over old stories. In a small clip shared by a fan, Jungkook raised his glass and said, "Hyungs, remember the promises? They still stand." Taehyung grinned and replied, "Then don't forget, we promised to never stop being each other's home." And perhaps that was the essence of it all, the truth behind Jungkook's 7 promises. They weren't grand declarations, but simple truths: to stay connected, to protect their shared memories, to honor their journey, to keep laughing, to keep singing, to keep believing, and to never let go of the bond that made them who they are. As the world continues to watch BTS evolve through new beginnings, Jungkook's story serves as a reminder that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes, it's about the people who saw you before the world did and loved you anyway. And for Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung, those promises will always be a bridge between who they were and who they'll always be.